People in the United Arab Emirates are calling for a popularly elected parliament. A group of Emirati activists and intellectuals has signed an online petition to President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Its members are calling for free and democratic elections. Hundreds of students in Bahrain are keeping up the pressure on their leadership to make swift democratic reforms. They've been marching to Pearl Roundabout in Manama, the focal point of anti-government demonstrations. They complain of discrimination by Sunni leaders against the majority Shia population. A major healthcare initiative in Pakistan is aiming to immunise 32 million children under the age of 5. The target is polio. Pakistan has 60% of the world's cases. Kamal Haider travelled to the Swat Valley to find out how the programme is being implemented and the obstacles it's facing.
The war against the Pakistani Taliban may be under control for now, but a different battle is being waged in Swat. With a fund made available by the Gates Foundation, Pakistan has launched a massive program to provide immunization for 32 million children under the age of 5. The country has seen a rise of 65% in outbreak of the polio virus. In Swat, the virus found a safe haven, partly due to the ongoing conflict with the Taliban and because of the recent floods. Now that the military is firmly in control of this valley, the polio immunization program is back on track. But for Waqas and Waqar, two brothers now crippled by the virus, the lull in the fighting came too late.
The
Taliban were threatening the immunization team not to work in the area, and that's why my children were deprived from polio drops and now suffering from polio.
Learning to live with their disability, the boys are still finding time to amuse themselves with a game of marbles. Waqas and Waqar may not be able to walk again, but for many other children, there is hope that they would not have to suffer the same fate. There are still many areas along the border with Afghanistan that aren't safe enough for immunization teams to visit. The real test of the stability for Swat is now to ensure that vaccine reaches those that need it most. Kamal Haider, AlJazeera, Swat.
This is Al Jazeera, still ahead.
I'm Nazanin Mashiri in Gafsa in southern Tunisia. I'll be reporting on the economic roots of this uprising.
And almost a year after Thailand's army crushed a rebellion, we meet a father still searching for answers.
Welcome back. Well, we are going to look at one more day of snow across most of Japan. They've been seeing snow pretty much all week long, but Friday is going to be their last day, as you can see right here. That snow is going to be in the upper elevations just to the west of Tokyo. We're also going to be seeing some rain showers along that western coast. But as we go into Saturday, the storm system moves out, and we're looking at some much clearer weather, as well as much warmer weather. We're looking at Seoul at 12 degrees, Pyongyang at 11 degrees, and as you can see over here towards China, those temperatures begin to go into the upper teens and the lower 20s, so that's some very nice weather for the weekend there. Across southern parts of China, we are looking at still mostly cloudy conditions, heavy rain showers too. Over towards Taiwan, those are going to be where we see the heaviest rain showers over the next several days. Temperature of about 19 there. Manila, your rain showers start to die down. We're going to be seeing about 30 degrees for you into your forecast. Down towards Australia, that is one of our biggest concerns. It has been our biggest concern for the last week. We are looking at this very large area of low pressure to the north. This is really being affecting the North Territory as well as Queensland. We have flash flood warnings in effect for the next several days. Heavy rain showers are going to be a problem, about 100 millimeters of rain a day. But down towards the south, not looking too bad. We are looking at Melbourne at 28, Sydney at 27, and Brisbane at 28 also.
Leaders are remembered, be they loved or feared. Alone they are inscribed on the pages of history. But what of the men and women whose hands build their monuments and whose blood stains their battlefields? The people who, against all odds, wield the power to reshape history. People in Power, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Hello again, the top stories here on Al Jazeera. Forces loyal to Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi have launched new airstrikes on the eastern oil towns of Ras Lanuf and Brega. After coming under heavy fire from land, air and sea, anti-Gaddafi fighters have retreated from Ras Lanuf. Arab Gulf states have now joined many Western countries in their condemnation of the Libyan regime. Ministers from the region say Gaddafi's government has lost legitimacy and back calls for a no-fly zone.
The Gaddafi regime baring its teeth, both in its rhetoric and in its military action. Zawiya, the town to the west of Tripoli, now in ruins. Rebel fighters in the east talking of hundreds dead. A hospital in Ras Lanuf bombed in an airstrike. And the Western powers now pushing the idea of a no-fly zone between committees. NATO saying it won't act without UN Security Council support. Permanent members Russia and China, with the power of veto, highly unlikely to give that support. The International Committee of the Red Cross is now calling this a civil war. Libya is getting used once again to being a pariah state, and its economy has taken an incredibly heavy hit out of this. Whatever victory the Libyan government feels it's going to achieve at the end of this conflict, everyone in Libya is paying an extremely heavy price.
Now, a 2008 rebellion in Tunisia's Gafsa region was brutally crushed by the regime of then-President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. But even after this year's Jasmine Revolution, which ended Ben Ali's rule, many people living there feel little in their lives has changed. Nazneen Mashiri reports from Gafsa.
This is a place where rebellion still hangs in the air. The words above these graves, the unemployed and the forgotten. This is at the heart of their protest. They want jobs and for the government in Tunis to stop ignoring their plight.
I feel excluded and oppressed, like I'm missing hundreds of things from my life. We see our wealth leaving this area, millions of dollars, and we are getting nothing.
The wealth is in the ground, in the phosphate mines which dominate the landscape. The government-run company makes millions of dollars a day selling this mineral abroad. Yet this is one of the poorest regions in Tunisia. In 2008, 3 years before the Jasmine Revolution, people here revolted. But their uprising was brutally suppressed. All of these men, more than 50 of them, were beaten and imprisoned.
The protests back then were censored. There was no media, no Facebook here. People were too scared to tell our story because the regime was too strong.
In the same village, we meet graduates in their late 20s who've never worked a day in their lives.